Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So, my name is Marsyanda Safaulia as today's host in our talk show this morning. And we have the material is about the education in Germany, Muslims in Germany, and scholarship opportunities. And here with me, we have Miss Tuba Isik from Humboldt University, Berlin. So maybe you can please briefly introduce yourself to us here, to the audiences.
All right. Selamat pagi, nama saya Tuba. Saya dari Jerman. I'm a professor for Islamic theology and Islamic education at the Institute for Islamic Theology at Humboldt University. So I came for an accreditation program at this Ahmed Dahlan University, and I'm happy to be here and to answer questions about education in general and Islamic education maybe in specific in Germany.
Good. So that's very, very interesting for me. So are you ready to have some talk with me here?
Yeah, I'm very happy and I'm thankful that I'm here with you, my dear.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Okay, so first thing first, we will talk a lot about the education, especially in Germany, and maybe we can know some opportunities for us as the international students who have the interest to study there, and maybe you can begin to tell us about the education system there, maybe about start from the primary school until the higher education, and what excites you the most about the education there?
Okay. Oh, you have asked a lot of questions. So let me start with primary school.
Okay.
You have to know, first of all, Germany is a federal state. So we have 16 federal states in Germany. And in each federal state, the education system differs a little from each other, just a little bit. Generally, we can speak for primary school is that you have 4 years primary school. After primary school, it's something, like high school in the US, if you like. It starts with the 5th grade until 10 or 12.
Oh.
So if you finish until 12 years, you immediately can go to university. And it depends on your grade of your graduation to which subject you can choose. So for medicine, for example, or law, you need or psychology, you really need good grade. After that, at university, what is very important, especially for foreign students, is to know language. Language is, we say in German, the A and the B. So the A and the B, it's principally, I think, everywhere in the world very important. So if you want to study in English, so or any program in English, if you can find it, there are certain programs in English, not each program. You should know at the level of C1 English, or if you want to study in German, you should know German. Sometimes, for example, our own institute, we are offering also English classes, but the English is very high-level English, so you really need to know English. We sometimes have, for example, exchange students from Turkey, so some of them know German, so they don't have difficulties to understand or to join the German classes as well, the English ones. But you can be sure in Islamic theology, you deal, especially in the master program, you deal with a lot of Arabic texts. So it's also for Islamic theology, it's a fortune to speak and to know Arabic as well. So we said A and B is knowing English, and what I really like in Germany is the possibility of interdisciplinarity actually. So you can make your BA in something else and your MA can something else as well. So you can combine different disciplines, and interdisciplinary is very important actually. So you have a better standing also in the academic world if you have studied different programs, which actually combines each other, or you can combine it later on in the practice field. This is very important, and the practice field is actually searching for these people. You know, if you just study one subject, sometimes you're a little bit, you know, focusing just on your own stuff, but you don't have an understanding of different things. So I always recommend my own students of Islamic theology, please study also a second subject like sociology, politics, history, or art, for example.
So we can have a lot of more better opportunities, right? Rather than just one opportunity.
Definitely, yes.
Okay, that's very, very interesting. You know, like in Indonesia, we also have some grades before university. For the primary school, we have 6 years, and then for the high school, we divide it by 2. Junior high school for 3 years, and senior high school for 3 years.
I see.
And then after that, we can go to university.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, and then. Could you please tell us, share to us about how the Germany education system works there? Maybe related about in the field itself, in the schools, and maybe about the government. Maybe we can compare it to Indonesia.
Oh, I see. Education is more or less independent, actually, from the government. Of course, the government gives us a framework. Of, if you like, skill goals. After primary school, a student should have, or pupils should have learned this or that skill. This is one of the framework. Of course, the government also says to us, these are the principles, this is our understanding of education theory. So it's very much impregnated by Humboldt himself. He was a thinker, actually. He was a very good pedagogue. And he says, please unfold the potential of a person. So school education is always unfolding the potential somebody has. And it's very much about student and pupils. So German system, education system is very much centered to students, actually. You have the student in the middle of the whole learning process, actually.
Okay, so actually in Indonesia right now we are aiming to the student-centered learning, but it's have gone through many years with the teacher-centered learning, and I think that in my personal opinion and experience, I think that the education itself is very dependent to the government. So we have to stick with the rules. We have to stick to the framework that given by the government. Yeah. So I think that as the educators, as teachers, we have to, we really want to accommodate all of the students. But unfortunately, we have to stick to the rules and the framework given by the government. So it's kind of hard.
But Marshanda, you are pointing out a very important difference here. The framework the German government is giving us is very small compared maybe to Indonesia. We have more freedom in the sense, if you like. And nowadays, I think it's also a general shift, actually. We can see this in the European school system as well. You might know the best school system in Europe is Finland. But it shows us that the world is changing very fastly. You know, AI, all this digitalization, and everybody is more, you know, into looking than to listening, for example. Right. A lot of things are changing, also how we use our senses. So the pupil-centered learning is a paradigm shift, we call it, because you look now, what is the surrounding and what are the questions of these young people, rather than to give them just input. Because the input was organized, you know, centuries ago, somehow. But now it's different. We have different questions, we have different problems and challenges. So the content has, you know, to change. And the German framework is giving us the flexibility to change it.
That's interesting. I mean, like, we have seen the very big differences between the education system works in Germany and Indonesia. I think that's the most important part is like about the freedom in the education itself. Like we should adapting to the world,
Yeah.
right? But in here, maybe we still stick to the framework, to the rules, so we don't really have the freedom of
Yeah.
teaching to the students.
Yeah, I mean, the teachers also have somehow a freedom, you know, we call it hidden agenda. It's
Right.
the hidden curriculum. It's, I mean, the state gives you a curriculum, the federal state, but to somehow you adapt your curriculum according to your students, your pupils. So if they have very much different questions, especially in classes like philosophy, ethics, or in Islamic education, you have to deal with these problems. I mean, in Germany we have a lot of migrants now, especially from Afghanistan and Syria, of course, and the Ukraine as well. But in the Islamic education, a lot of different now nationalities. So we are very much multicultural, more than in Indonesia.
Yeah.
And this is a very big challenge for the teachers, actually. So everyone is coming with a different cultural understanding of Islam, and also believings like faith also. For example, drawing or music.
Yeah, right.
Yes, it's, no, this is haram or no. And so the teacher has to deal with it, and they have to deal with these questions. She can't just stick to the curriculum. She has to deal with the questions of the children.
Giving more insights
Totally.
from another perspectives, right?
Yes, totally right.
Okay. Now that we are talking about, you have mentioned about the students from Afghanistan, from Turkey, some of this country as Muslim majority countries, right? And I think that Germany is one of the most top destinations for international students.
Yeah.
Like they want to study there, and
Yeah.
maybe we can talk about how do we study in Germany, especially in terms of academic opportunities and student life there as
Yeah.
international students.
I think why Germany is a destination is, I think, the academic system at the universities are well. I mean, you are learning a very high standard of academic research, and also writing and thinking. This is the most important. I would say thinking is very, very important. Of course, without thinking you can't make any research and so on. But it's a very high level, and they keep this level. So it might be because of this. I mean, your certification is valued everywhere, of course. But you don't have. Yeah, we should not forget that Germany is still, even it is a multicultural country nowadays. I mean, since 10, 15 years or 20, it's not very easy for foreign students to live in Germany. It depends also on the area. Sometimes you will face also discrimination, still racism and discrimination. This is a fact, unfortunately. And some cities are much more expensive than the others.
Right.
This is also a fact. This is very important to choose the right city, not just the university. Berlin is a very expensive city, also for living, for students, even if you have a scholarship. The rents are very high. So, like in Kuala Lumpur, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how the rents are in Jakarta. So, these are also very, very important facts, I think, aspects to see. But for foreign students, check first of all which university is famous for my subject. Look at the surrounding, and the surrounding, by surrounding I mean the living facts. Is it easy to find a flat to rent and so on? How is living there and so on? And after that, would you really like to work with this professor of this department? So check the professor of this department. Look at his focuses especially. And if you want to apply, I mean, you have to apply to the university. This is for sure. Just make sure that it fits with maybe also your vision of what you want to do, actually.
In the future.
In the future. I would recommend more to go in the master's abroad than in the bachelor. So make a good foundation in the bachelor and make your language skills well, and then for the master you can go abroad. Yeah. Right. But sometimes I don't know why people try to come to Germany, because it's German language, right? Mostly it is taught in German. and they have few programs at each university in English. So it might be more interesting to find countries which are English speaking.
Right.
And then a scholarship. Scholarship, sometimes universities offers scholarship programs. You have to check on the internet. But in Germany, for Germany, I can say they are foundations. Mm-hmm. They call it political foundations, but actually they're not bounded to any political party, officially. Yeah. Officially not, but informal, yes. So, for example, when I started with my PhD, I was a fellow of the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung. This is a foundation which is close to the Social Democrat Party. Oh, right. And of course, they have criteria, but they also take people from outside, from abroad. They have a contingent for that. So you can apply, and you have to apply in a very good way. Your proposal should be strong,
right?
Straight.
To apply
for the scholarship
there, yes. We should make them believe that we can study there.
Yeah. You have to make a good marketing for yourself.
Branding for ourselves,
yes.
right? Okay. And then that we mentioned about the surroundings there, we should do some research before we start to study there, about not only about the place that we want to go, not about only the university that we try to aim, but also how we can live there.
Yeah, definitely.
About the living cost.
Yeah, and also, I make the experience that a lot of abroad students, especially in Berlin, there are some graduate schools, for example, who also give scholarships, and the name of the graduate school is very high, and also in the internet. But you should also check a little bit the students who are there. Maybe write them and ask them, how do you like your program? Is it really good, like it is shown on the homepage? Because I really often make this experience that the professors are full with the PhD students and master students, so they don't really can care of you. So be patient and be careful in saying, oh, this might be a good program, so I should apply. Ask first, and how are the circumstances? Is there really a good support by the professor you are going to, and then apply. Sometimes there is a very big disappointment.
So we have to think more than twice.
Yes.
Not just, this is good, then I will apply. So we should do some researches.
Definitely.
It's very, very important.
Definitely. And just don't, follow people. Oh, I have been there. You should also come. Yeah, but does it fit to me and to my needs I really have, right? And sometimes professors are too busy that they can, deal with one by one. It's sometimes not possible.
They have so many students.
You see, I'm a professor, but I'm in Indonesia now. So in 2 days, the university will start, and I'm already prepared. Okay. Thanks God, alhamdulillah. But otherwise, you need really time to do things. So sometimes you have too many students you have to deal with. So,
so busy.
So very busy, yeah.
But you are amazing that you can manage your time.
Yeah.
Going there and here.
Yeah.
That's very amazing.
This is a question of, also a very important question for students, self-organization. Self-discipline, self-organization is very important. Right. So I had a father who was also academic, who was also a theologian, so discipline is very important. And you need a good husband. This is also very important.
So everyone, listen, you have to find a good husband.
So salam to my husband Ahmed, who's taking care of our daughter Fatima Iqbal. So she's 4.5. You see, it's quite difficult actually. And the academic system in Germany especially is selecting people. If you don't fit to the system and you don't write and you don't make research, the system is taking you out. But so it's a really important balance, very slight balance of life, research, and family especially. In family, you have to nurture your family as well. So take your time, self-time, me time, husband time, daughter time. Very, very important. Very, very important.
Okay. So we move to the next thing that we want to talk. It's about Muslims in Germany. So would you please tell us about the experience of Muslims in Germany, especially in the academic and social context, and how does the country itself accommodates the cultural and religious needs of the Muslim students here?
Yeah. For general, we can say Germany has a population of 80 million, and 6 million, more or less, 6 millions are Muslims from different cultures, from different backgrounds. We can say that the first Muslim population was the Turkish one and the Arabic one, who went there for, some of them for studying, but a lot of them for working. Nowadays we have, of course, a lot of migrants who came because of the wars, different, and now Palestine. We have, especially in Berlin, we have a very big population of Palestinian people and Afghani people and Syrian people and so on. So before we had the migration, starting by especially the Syrian war, to a certain extent we could say, I'm calling Muslims, but please don't understand it as a monolithic. It's diverse, it's very diverse. So we had been in a certain way integrated into the German society. So make a good, what I mean by integration is that we made a good mix of own culture, Islamic values, and if you like, German values and German culture. So it's a good mix. So when people come now from abroad, they bring, of course, their own
culture.
Package, their whole package. So now a lot of right-wing parties are popping up, right-wing sayings are popping up more because they're afraid of their resources in Germany. So a lot of racism and discrimination came up again. It's getting higher and higher, unfortunately. It was better. 10 years ago it was a little bit better because nowadays these first generation Muslims in Germany, they came in the 80s especially. They are now, old people. Their children are working. They are paying their taxes. They have children. They are totally localized now. They have their roots now in Germany. So they feel themselves as a Berliner. They call themselves as German Turkish Muslims, for example, and live there, of course. And nobody's going back to the home countries of their parents. So actually you have a lot of, doctors and lawyers and all what you can imagine of professions run by Muslim people. So it depends on the city where you are, how you feel homely or how you feel secure actually in Germany. Yeah.
So it's not that hard to find the Muslims community.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
In Berlin, we have a very big Indonesian community, for example.
Really?
Yes, we have a mosque of Indonesian people as well. The first time I met Indonesian people was during my study, for example. I learned to love tea tarik, for example. No, it depends on the city because a lot of Indonesian people came, for example, to Göttingen, Georg Albert University to study or to make their PhD, and it is a very good university to study. But people come to study with their families or to make PhD, and then they went back left to Germany, for example. And this is a good idea,
Yeah.
because I'm a fan of to say go somewhere, take the knowledge, and bring it back actually to your home country to improve. This is very important, I think.
I think that when we go somewhere in another country, we check back to our country to share the insights, share the perspective that we have outside our country, and improving ourselves, our family, and maybe we can also improve our society.
Yes. This is very important, I think. Yeah.
And about the Muslims there, you said that now, especially now, they face some like racism and discrimination. Do you have some maybe advice or tips on how to deal with that kind of thing?
This is very difficult, you know, Marshanda. It depends on what you are facing, actually. When I was a student, it was right after 9/11, for example. People used to spy on me. It's happening on the street. So I was just jumping away. Sometimes an action. Sometimes people come and say to me, you know, they gas the Jews and now they should gas you, Muslims, something like this. And once I answered, you know you are right. And then they shocked. Something like this. You have to shock people sometimes. But because it doesn't lead to somewhere when you argue with these people or make fight with these people. It doesn't matter. And you can't change or you can't persuade people sometimes. More or less, it's important that you care for yourself. That you say, this has nothing to do with me. This person has a problem, has a self problem, has a character problem, but not me. So I'm just, in that moment, I'm a mirror, actually. So try not to actually get touched by that, what these people are saying, and try to make sure that you are safe.
We should make sure ourselves safe, and then we should focus on ourselves instead of complaining about their actions.
Yeah, it's a psychological point of view that you strengthen yourself. The I is very important here, and that you can shout, "Help, police!" or something.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
also important. So, I mean, it's a visual thing that you know in that moment how to react in a certain way, in an adequate way. Sometimes it's enough when you just say to people, "Can you help me? This person is now discriminating me. I'm afraid of this person. Can you help me?" Or that you shout sometimes or run away, because you don't know what these people can do. Sometimes they're crazy and sick people, so you should be careful. But on the paper level, if you like, sometimes I was a head of an independent Islamic Muslim women society. So we got a lot of letters of women who had the experience of discrimination of their headscarf, their weight. So then the fight is a papers fight. So then we are writing papers in a heuristical way. So we are arguing with the law. And we are saying, so if you don't act according to the law, we will sue you. Something like this, you know. So this is much more easier than on the street. This is something which touches you, but be careful not to be touched by that.
And they will be so afraid if you're talking about the law, because you can get imprisoned.
Yes. Yeah, you can sue a person in Germany very easily. Very easily.
Oh, okay. And now that we are talking about the scholarships again, maybe you can share to us about the scholarships opportunities that are available that you have mentioned earlier. It's from political parties. Maybe some universities also have it. Offers the same opportunities.
I would say in Germany more or less. Generally, each university also offers a little amount of scholarship for students. It's easier for PhD students actually. You have on one side you have the political parties, but you also have different foundations, not parties, political foundations. Then you just have to search for foundations. You also have, in Germany now we have one Islamic foundation, Avicenna, it's called Vicina, Vicina in Latin, Avicenna, and just for Germany, I don't know the other European countries, but search for these foundations and look if they have a pot for foreign students. This is one way. Another way is sometimes religious communities to give scholarships. It's applying is something, but applying in a good way is something else. So you have to make sure by your application that you have the skills, and they will say, "Wow," to the CV, right?
Yeah.
This is much more. It's a marketing.
Make them
question.
impressed.
Yes, they have to be
Impressed by our skills, by our branding that we make. Right,
then we should continue our conversation earlier. So this is the last segment, I think. And maybe you could tell us about the opportunities for the scholarship students. Do you recommend any documents or language requirements, or maybe the process and the criteria for international students who want to study there?
Sure. I mean, one requirement of each foundation, it's called Stiftung in German, Stiftung, they ask for English. They ask for English. Sometimes they ask for German. It depends a little bit on that, what you're going to do. If you're doing a PhD and you are going to write in English, so they will ask you for English. But requirement is always the language. So keep an eye on what for a language requirement actually they have. And then they ask for a good idea. The proposal must be written very well. And maybe one hint is somehow it should be always related to politics. It doesn't have to be in politics. What I mean is it should concern the society, if you like, the public square. And it should have this aspect of win-win. So why should the foundation give you a scholarship? What is the profit of your PhD or your master's for this foundation? So it should be related to somehow that you give back as thoughts, in the way of thoughts, for this foundation, for this German society, or for your society where you're coming from. So you should have an insightful work for the society. So the society relation is very important. That is what I mean by politics dimension. And what is also important is that the work you are going to do, especially when you want to do a PhD, is that it should improve the foundations of the discipline you are doing. So, for example, for my discipline, Islamic education, we don't have that much people who are doing empirical religious education. You know, we don't have people who goes to schools and interview children related to their perception of Allah, for example, or the Prophet, or miracles, for example. You see? Or questions of how can we establish spirituality in a primary school, in religious education. These are empirical studies. So if you are working for the foundations of a discipline, this has a better chance to get approved, actually. Good written proposal, language skills, and social relation. Yeah.
So it means that most of the scholarship there was funded by
political parties,
so
if you like.
we have to relate it with the society, how we would give to the society.
Yeah.
So that the study that what we study there is, like can be functional in the society.
Yeah, if you like, functional, in your own society. But if you are writing about, for example, the higher education in Indonesia, it should be an improve or impact the functionality for your Indonesian society, for the university, academia, not for Germany.
Yes.
But Germany this is something I really like about Germany. Germany is trying to, support people who wants to improve their own countries as well. This is what I experience also when I go with the Ministry for Foreign, that we go abroad and that we have these diplomatic talkings. It's always the same. If people are asking us for help, Germany is helping, actually.
So when we come there, we should go back to our country to improve everything.
To improve your own,
really
It's the same with medicine, It's the same with medicine. Right. It's not just education or social science, humanistic sciences, on cultural science. It's in each science, I would say.
It's about how to help people around us, help our surroundings to be a better environment to people to live in.
It's like when a German would come to Indonesia to study tourism, he could improve the kindness and the friendliness in Germany at the hotel. You see?
The hospitality.
Of course, no Indonesian students should go to Germany to study tourism there. They should come here.
Okay, and then maybe you can share to us, to the audiences there, about some advice and tips for international students, especially Muslim, who wants to study in Germany, how to create a balance in their education life and personal life while living in Germany.
Marcia, you ask very broad questions, you know? One question is implying 5 questions. Okay, let me brief it up. Because I'm a professor, right? I should do this, yes. Yeah. I would recommend, what just popped in my mind is, I would recommend to have a good balance between study and free time. What do I mean by free time? Is do something that improves your skills. Communication skill, social skill, political skill, I don't know, whatever it is. Work for free or however, work in a sense for social, maybe NGO, or be active in university life, try to be an assistant, for example. I mean, use your free time in a good way. I mean, we're Muslims, we should not waste our time. Our time is very important. So, and we have to give the zakat of each moment, actually. So, be aware of this free time and your freedom that you have, and use it in a good way. So it will, you know, is an additional to your CV, actually, your academic CV. And university, I would recommend, this is my own experience, to be disciplined. Reading, listening, cultivate listening to teachers, to other people as well. Please listen, don't listen to TikTok imams or something like this. Listen to your academic teachers. Listen to this is very important. I mean, we have the opportunity to access everything now through internet, but please be careful what you are listening, because our Islamic understanding of a human being is holistic. So we have to be careful what we are watching, and what we are listening, and what we are eating as well. So listening is not just sometimes listening, it's also feeding my brain. So please be careful what you are listening. And be always, and this is very good of Ahmad Dahlan, is that you have this very close relationship to your lecturers. This is really valuable, and this is a luxury, believe me. So use that and learn from their experiences. And I think this is very important, because in Europe, students think that they know everything. So they don't ask their teachers, you know, their lecturers. But I think this is also a part of our culture, of our Islamic culture, to learn from our older people, and to learn from our lecturers. So be open and be humble. Yeah. Be humble. Even I'm a professor, I'm very humble that I know that I don't know anything. All right?
We learn every day, we learn something new every day from each other, sharing perspective and insight.
Yes.
It's very important, right?
Yes, very important.
Right. So about our conversation today is we talk a lot about education in Germany, and then the scholarship opportunities there. Also some advice about how, if we really want to study there are a lot of advice that very important that you should take notes if you really want to go to Germany. And I think that's very important that we have to do our research to improve ourselves, to be better version of ourselves before we really want to aim to our goals, so that we can give something to our society, to improve our society, to make a better place for everyone.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. I can't add anything. You made it. You summarized it very nicely. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really thank you so much for giving us so much insights and so much knowledge that we really want to know. Not only about how we want to study in Germany, but also in a wider perspective of the world. So this is not only about how do we want to go to abroad, but also how to bring ourselves to be a better version of ourselves, and then be a better person to the society as well. Yes. Thank you so much. It's really nice to have you here.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed
I thank you. Terima kasih. It was very great talking to you.
Okay, so That's all from us. Thank you so much for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Goodbye. So how do we say goodbye in Germany?
Tschüss.
Tschüss. Bye.
Bye.